Hello everyone, welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth with me, Flick, and we're just going to do a hard run Isaac, because I feel like this will probably be a video where I just get distracted by what I'm saying. Oh good, it's a Burning Basement XL, first of all. The seed is 6BMY32M2, because yesterday I went to go see the new Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and as with most times when I go somewhere that isn't my house, I have stories to recant. You may already have seen like a little sampling on Twitter because I did something accidentally very embarrassing. But also, I've got such a big backlog of Rebirth videos and they're so spaced out. Originally I wasn't going to like do any talking about the movie itself, like literally none, because I know people obviously want to see it themselves. You're not going to be seeing this episode until we're into the new year. It'll be probably like maybe even the second week of January before this is seen. And I'm recording this the day before Christmas. Ooh, very nice. So, I'm still not going to talk about, like, the 2 or 3 major spoilers of the movie, but I might accidentally, and sometimes deliberately, talk about scenes in it. So if you want an entirely virgin experience, and you still plan to go see the movie and you haven't done for whatever reason at this point, what is that? Oh, right, we had this once before. Right. So occasionally I shoot out an eye and it shoots in the direction I'm facing. Yeah, so I am going to talk about some of the movie. It's not exactly what I'm going to talk about, but I will mention some scenes because I want to talk about it a little bit in more detail than I otherwise would. So yeah, if you want to see the movie without hearing anything at all about it, well, for one, you should probably go see it quick because people are trying to spoil it everywhere. And 2, don't watch this video. We will go find our other item room first, if for no other reason than to get a reroll. So the last time I went to the cinema was earlier this year when I saw my first movie in 3D. I went to see Age of Ultron when CR visited for a day. And that was an interesting experience. I think I enjoyed the movie more as a result of seeing it in 3D. It was the perfect kind of movie. So I also decided to see Star Wars in 3D. And yeah, I think it uses the 3D relatively well. I liked the fight sequences and, you know, the X-Wings and what have you. They worked well in 3D. There used to be a ride, in fact it might still exist to this day, I don't know, where I think in, like, what's that name of that park in America? Not Disneyland, the other one. Nope, can't remember. Either way, you just sat on a thing and it gave you like a 4D experience of going down the trench from the original series. You get that experience when you're watching the new one in 3D as well, because there's similar like trench runs, or those kind of camera angles anyway. So yeah, I'm glad I watched it in 3D. I liked it more as a result as well, I think. My overall opinion of the movie was, I liked it. It's obviously a lot better than the prequels because it didn't have George Lucas's hand in it. He has absolutely no idea how to do a story. And before you point to the original trilogy, no, that was largely saved by editing and George Lucas being still so new and not rich that he was willing to listen to other people. After those movies became successful, he got a big head and he utterly failed to understand what people liked about his movies. He thought they liked the the soap opera-esque aspects of his films, which they don't. See, he was copying, I mean in a good way, copying like the old space-time adventures from the 50s and 60s that he presumably grew up with. But that isn't what people liked about his movies, at least not the majority. We'll just take this because I want the reroll for the boss, the second boss to be precise, in case we get to deal with the devil. Although we did take red heart damage, didn't we? Yeah, we can just head to the bosses because we've had both our item rooms. So, final warning. In fact, no, I can tell my embarrassing story first and then I'll get on to movie talk. So if you want to listen this far, you're still safe. Overall impression of the movie without literally talking about it at all, I liked it. I found the plot to be predictable. I saw the twists all coming, and that's not me trying to be smarmy or smart. I think they're exceptionally obvious. But that's not necessarily a massive downside. Overall, I think it's well worth watching. I do want to watch it again, not in the cinema, but you know, I'll watch it on like DVD sometime. And I am interested in seeing the next one. So my embarrassing story was that, well, for one, we went to an early morning showing because we were seeing it a week after release. Or just over a week, I can't remember now, when it actually premiered. So there was still a chance that the cinema would be relatively busy because it's breaking all kind of box office records. So I decided with my sister, right, we're not going to a midday viewing and we're not going to the evening viewing because they'll be packed. We're going to go to the first 3D viewing of the day, which is at 11:15 in the morning. So I went there with an empty bladder, empty food, empty stomach rather, because I had no food. Didn't have time to stop for breakfast. And I got a gigantic slushie. I don't know if you have slushies in America. It's ice and juice mixed together. And I just had one of them to sip on. Oh hey, ball banshees. That was a mistake, because about an hour into the movie, and the movie is like 2 hours 30 long. Actually, not quite that, maybe 2.5. But you've also got to account for the half hour of ads beforehand as well. So we were in there for about 3 hours. Actually sitting in the theatre. I had to pee mid-movie, which sucks because I was wanting to pay attention to the movie. So I waited for a point where it seemed like there wasn't going to be any big revelation or set piece. As it turns out, I did actually miss the start of a set piece action thing, but that's okay. I was more interested in the story, to be honest. But anyway, I went for a pee mid-cinema. So you're leaving the pitch black cinema, take off your 3D glasses, and then you're back to normal vision, bright daylight, early morning, etc. And I made a mistake. I came out the screening room, and I looked to my left, and I saw what I thought was the male bathroom. And then I looked to my right, because I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't tell by the symbol. It wasn't obvious one way or the other whether it was a male symbol or a female symbol. So I looked down the other end of the hall, and the only thing I could see was the disabled bathroom. So I thought, well, okay, this must be the right one then. So I went in, and I used it, and then I left. And after leaving the film again, I needed another pee because I finished drinking the whole thing. And we'll re-roll this. And we've got quite the orbital thing going on here, don't we? We'll take it. Risky. And yeah, I think we're just going to go. Yeah. What was I saying? Yes, I went back out after the cinema and my sister went to the loo. And then I paid more attention to the whole hallway, and down at the way far end from where our screening room was the actual male bathroom. So I had used the female bathroom by accident. Thankfully there was no one else in there at the time. None of the staff or public saw me going in or out, so I was spared the embarrassment. But at the same time, alright, granted I was in a little bit of a stupor because you're going from an entirely dark room watching something in 3D to really, really bright, and you want to get back in and out quickly because you're missing the movie that you paid to see. But this female symbol, I wish I'd taken a photo of it actually, because it's the circle to mean the head, which is fine, but that's obviously going to be on the male one as well. And then instead of like a triangle, which is like the universal symbol for this means this is for women, it was just another egg-shaped circle. And then underneath that there was another egg-shaped circle, and I guess that's meant to be like the hourglass shape of women? I don't know. It didn't look like it though. And I know, like I said this on Twitter and someone else pointed out, well, surely you looked around for urinals and didn't see any, so how could you not know you were in the women's bathroom? I like my privacy when I pee, okay? So I like going into a stall, and I saw a stall and I just went into it. I didn't pay attention or think to pay attention to whether or not there was actually urinals in there. Obviously there wasn't, because it was a women's bathroom. What other clues should have tipped me off? The fact it was clean and didn't smell, probably. But it's bullshit though, because compared to the male bathroom, which I went into after the movie was over, the female bathroom has like 3 times the stalls, and I get it because they don't use urinals. But that means like 15 of them can be in there at a time and not have to wait, whereas men, we have 5 urinals and 2 stalls. That's not fair. Also, why is theirs cleaner? Well, I suppose that might be obvious, but what? No, it's not obvious. Why is theirs cleaner? We use the hygiene provided. That's not the right way to say that. The hygiene products. We wash our hands, etc. There's something going on there. But I have seen the hallowed female bathroom in a cinema, and it is better than the male one. But I am so glad that I didn't just have like a member of staff see me either enter or leave and just have to awkwardly point out, excuse me, that was the wrong bathroom, because that would have been mortifying. So naturally, after getting away with no one seeing me making that mistake, I told the internet. Twice now. But I thought it was funny. Afterwards. At the time, it was, you know, knuckle biting. Shame. Is this another double floor? No, it's not. We just need to find our boss. So that was embarrassing. But the sign was misleading. If I might go back to the cinema later in 2016 to see Civil War. So if I do, I will take a picture of that sign and I will seek my vindication by showing that it does not look like a female. It just doesn't. You'll see. I'll try and remember. In fact, anytime I go back there now, I probably will remember my shame. So, yeah, sure. But I will get a picture. Please be a horseman. It's the frail, that ain't a horseman. I guess I'll use the death card in its second form. Oh, before we get back on to the actual movie itself as well, the 30 minutes of adverts and previews you've got to sit through. Compared to when I went to see Age of Ultron, there was only one advert for a mobile game, whereas when I went to see Ultron, it was like 90% mobile games, which just was bizarre to me because I didn't realise that kind of money. Now I know better. Yeah, there was only one. I don't remember what it was for, but yeah, there was only one, so that was appreciated. That did not touch me. Come on. Alright. We did okay. That's obviously handy. Oh, yes, very much so. Okay. Didn't mean to walk into that, obviously. No point re-rolling that because well, actually, no, there would have been a reason. Why did I lost 1 heart from walking on the spike, but I had 6, right? I don't think that worked out. Huh. Oh, who cares? We have Death Touch. We're pretty much done here. Let's just go down. I don't mind if this is a win or a loss. It's more just so an excuse for me to talk about a movie because it's not really... People don't come to me to hear me talk about movies. But anyway. Trailers beforehand. Adverts beforehand. There was one Fallout 4. That's fine. That was the only other game-related thing there was, other than the trailer for the Warcraft movie. It looked okay. I don't think mainstream audiences are going to be interested in it, but it looked okay. It just looked like CG-filled Lord of the Rings. It might do well given how many people play Warcraft or have played Warcraft. But didn't really appeal to me. But I don't play the game, so if I want high fantasy, I'll go elsewhere. I saw the trailer for the next Star Wars. I still haven't seen Into Darkness, or whatever it was called. So the third one doesn't really interest me. In terms of the trailer, it was awful looking. It didn't look like Star Wars, it looked like genetic adventure. Why they thought Beastie Boys music was good to go with the trailer, I have no idea. Did they not realise that Star Trek fans are nerds? I guess they might be wanting to appeal to a new generation, but the new generation of nerds need stuff to watch as well. They want science fiction. They don't want Beastie Boys music and motorbikes. At least not in my opinion. That's what I do like some Star Trek. That's not what I want from the movies. So I'm not interested in that one. Let's see, what else was there a trailer for? There was the trailer for Civil War, which I've already seen. It's not in 3D now, though. The trailer was in 3D for whatever reason. I'm still interested in it. I'm looking forward to see it. I think they've toned back the whole Superhero Registration Act, or whatever it's called. Because they've had to, since they can't include X-Men and what have you in the story. So they've made it all about the Winter Soldier, which I imagine will piss some people off because it doesn't make much sense. But you'll get to see Captain America and Iron Man punch each other, so that sounds like fun to me. There was another trailer I wanted to talk about. What did we see a trailer for? Oh, the next X-Men movie, the Apocalypse one. I think seeing... what's his name? James McAvoy wearing a bald cap, so he looks even more like Patrick Stewart, is both like frightening and also kind of funny. He does look like Patrick Stewart when he's wearing a bald cap, and I'm not just saying that because, hey, now they're both bald. His facial structure, I don't know if they've done anything to him digitally, but yeah, their facial structure is the same. So, okay, it's kind of goofy seeing him trying to look even more like Patrick Stewart, but it kind of works. At the one embarrassing thing about it was what they made Apocalypse look like. I only know what he looked like from the old cartoons, and he looked shit in that as well. But I thought they would have done something better with his design. I remember him from the cartoons because he looked like he had frog lips, and that's all I remember about him. And I remember him murdering the whole cast. And then it did a convoluted time travel story where they've got to go back and stop him doing whatever it was that murdered all of the X-Men. So I assume the movie will be something like that as well. But they made him look like some kind of goofy plastic Egyptian god. It didn't look good, the movie, in general. So I haven't seen Days of Future Past either, so I'm not really interested in that. We will take the Rosary because I need the health. Sucks that I had to use my one bomb on that, but that's okay. I think that's the only other non-Star Wars movie I saw that I wanted to talk about in terms of trailers and what have you. There wasn't that many trailers, it was just mostly adverts. Or like coffee and stuff like that. Oh, there was a lot of Star Wars related adverts. There was like a Subway Star Wars advert, there was a car related Star Wars advert. You'd have thought it was a major big thing that Disney is exploiting for every penny they can to make back some of that billion they spent on it or whatever. There's no battery. Ooh, just go. So the film itself, this is now moderate spoiler territory. I'm not going to spoil the big twists. Although if you watch, you will see them coming, in my opinion. Still. There's a lot of stuff I liked in it. I like the mixing of the old with the new. I like that the theme of light and dark is very prominent. We're going to get a reroll on this floor. Probably not. Let's just go. I think the new actors are very good as well. I really like the characters of Finn and Rey. Their actors do very well with it. I'd say that there's parallels between those two and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker in terms of their dynamic. Like, Han was the one with the personality in the original trilogy, even though Luke was the main character. He doesn't really have, like, he doesn't have a foible. He doesn't have any errors, whereas, like, Han Solo is a ruffian and a lovable rogue and a bit of a bastard, and he's a little bit shifty. Like, Finn's got that kind of arc. Not exactly the same. He also doesn't have Han's personality. That's more like Poe Dameron has Han's personality. And he was quite funny as well. I think they were a little bit ballsy with his first gag. In terms of, like, it wasn't fourth wall breaking, but it had the risk of being immersion breaking, because if someone was really in that situation, they wouldn't wisecrack. But, like, the first thing Poe Dameron does after he gets captured and he's face to face with Kylo Ren, they stare at each other for a second and he says, "So, do you talk or do I talk? What happens here?" No one would say that in that situation. So they took a little bit of a gamble with doing, like, making him do a wisecrack in a situation where someone really shouldn't. And it was funny. In fact, the movie in general had quite a few funny bits. So that was good. I liked his character. He wasn't used very much, and I worry that that's because they're saving him for, like, some kind of spin-off crap. I'm not interested in spin-off movies. I'll watch the main new trilogy. I don't care about a spin-off about him. But yeah, all the new characters. Oh, to go back to what I was originally saying, yeah, so it feels like Rey's the main character, because she is. But Finn's the one who actually has an arc, because he has flaws, he has fears, and he grows throughout the movie, whereas Rey is a little bit too perfect. She doesn't have any flaws, other than wanting to stay on Jakku, which isn't really a flaw. So, but she's still good. I like that she doesn't take no crap. So to go back to the old and the new thing. And this is moderate spoilers for a scene. I'm tired of constantly saying that. You know, you've probably already backed out if you were at any risk of, like, wanting to know nothing about this movie. But there was one moment in the film where I got a little bit teary-eyed, and it was nothing to do with the film itself. It's because the guy in the chair behind me was poking me. No, it's because I thought that there was subtext to the conversation, and I don't know if I was just seeing something that wasn't there, or if this was actually something that was written in, knowing the actors who were speaking. And it was the conversation that Leia and Han have about the second or third time they're talking together. And the point of the conversation within the context of the movie is covering what they've been doing with their lives for the past 20 or 30 years, which is fine. It gives you information. The subtext I got from it was Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford having a conversation about the fact that they're reaching the end of their lives, and they made some mistakes in their life, but some good came of it as well, even if they messed up a little bit. And seeing those two actors who I remember from my childhood, you know, reaching the end of their lives, having that kind of conversation, it got to me a little bit. It was nothing to do with the plot of the movie. Unless, of course, I guess you attribute that just to Han and Leia, but I don't really particularly care about them as much. It was nice seeing them. I also like Carrie Fisher. She's weird. Although I must say, I don't know if it's a result of plastic surgery or just all the drugs she did when she was younger, or maybe she had a stroke and didn't tell anybody, but half her face does not move, and it is quite distracting. Her acting, though, is good. She put in a good performance, so did Harrison Ford, which is something I didn't think I'd say after seeing how he was in the last Indiana Jones. If I don't look at them, did they not charge me or something? Why weren't they attacking me there? Nope, that's not how that works. Right, you stay over there. Yeah, even Harrison Ford puts in an actual attempt at acting. Carrie Fisher, by the way, I don't know if she still does it, but she voiced a character in Family Guy. I haven't seen it for a while, so I don't know if the character still exists. It was Peter's boss, Angela, and it's Carrie Fisher doing her voice. So assuming that that's still a character, then yes, she does still do that. Yeah, I like her. I like her because she's eccentric in real life, as a result of doing so many drugs, probably. Rose card. Chub tastes like smoke. The walls will harden over time. Time is of the essence. Thank you for reminding me. I probably won't be getting boss rush. Not that I want it. I do want the shop with this much money. This would be a library. If I grab the Bible, I lose a heart. But then, do I get flying for the room? I don't want to do it. If I get some ability to fly, I'll go back. I don't really care if we miss boss rush either. That's okay. So another thing I liked about the movie is that the lightsaber fights in it actually mean something. Because my biggest problem with the prequels was that, yeah, you made the lightsaber fights look super flashy, but that doesn't matter because I don't care. Like, in the original trilogy, all the lightsaber fights mattered, not so much just because it was people throwing lightsabers at each other. It's because of the emotion behind the reason why the two people are fighting. So it doesn't matter that they're not backflipping all over the place and doing that kind of CGI bullshit. I mean, I've told this story before, but the last movie I saw in the theatres before going to see Age of Ultron earlier this year was Episode 2. I went with some of my college class to see it. And the big finale to that is Yoda having a lightsaber fight with Count Dooku, whatever he was called. Christopher Lee. And I burst out laughing, and it was really embarrassing. Because Yoda's just flipping all over the place going, and there was no... I wasn't invested in the fight, and it looked stupid, so I just burst out laughing. And I embarrassed myself and the people I was with. It was just so bad. Whereas if you compare that to fights in the original trilogy, which also I guess I am going to spoil, so if you haven't watched the original trilogy, prepare yourself. But, for example, in Empire, when Luke and Vader fight each other as the big finale, Luke's trying really hard and he's desperately trying to fight Vader, whereas Vader's just pissing around with him and barely trying because he's so outmatched. So he's toying with Luke, and you can tell by the way they're fighting that that's the whole thing. Like, Luke is trying his best, whereas Vader doesn't give a shit because he knows he'll win with ease. And you can see that by the way they're fighting. Or in Jedi, when Luke and Vader have their final confrontation, Luke refuses to fight until Vader pushes him over the edge, and he gives into his anger when he accidentally gives away that Leia exists. And he just starts beating the shit out of Vader, like using his lightsaber as a club, just to batter him. And that's emotionally charged. You feel that, you know, he's given into his anger finally. And he beats his father to, well, not to death, but you know what I mean. He beats his father to the point where he does the same injury to him as he received from him by cutting off his hand. So it doesn't matter that fight also isn't particularly overdramatic in terms of like people flipping over the place. What's more important is it was emotionally charged. Luke accidentally gives in or gives away a secret. Vader pushes his buttons enough that he fights back finally and kicks his ass. It makes it mean something, and we will take Little Brimstone. We will take Little Brimstone. There we are. That was me trying to do a Jedi mind trick, which also was a funny scene. Rey trying to learn to use a mind trick by herself. You will release me. No, I won't. She tries a couple more times and eventually does it. It's very funny. But yeah, so the fights, the actual lightsaber fights, there's technically 3, although only 2 of them are actual like duels. They're really good because they have a lot of context and they have a lot of emotion behind it. And also, I know that some people might also be thinking that there's some kind of plot hole in, like, how can these two people fight the baddie without dying instantly in the finale for the 2 fights. Which again, I'm going to say who fights. Spoilers, etc. So when Finn is fighting with Kylo, and then when Rey is fighting with Kylo, they both stand up to him, although Finn eventually gets his ass kicked, but he's not a Jedi, so that's not a surprise. He doesn't have the Force, he just uses the lightsaber as a weapon. So people might be thinking, well, how the hell can he use a lightsaber? A lightsaber is just a weapon. The only reason Jedi stick with them, or Sith as well, is because they have the reflexes required to make them be able to deflect bullets. So that's why it's plausible for them to get away with using them still, even when people use guns. But it sets up a little less than subtle thing to explain why Finn knows how to sword fight. When he first uses the lightsaber when they're trying to escape that marketplace they were at, he runs into a stormtrooper from his unit that has like this weighty shock baton thing, and they have a fight. And they're kind of on even terms. But the reason that scene is there is to explain that Finn's battalion has been taught to fight in hand-to-hand with a weapon that is basically a lightsaber. So he knows how to use it. So that explains that away. As for Rey knowing how to fight, well, she knows how to use the bow staff thing she has, which is close enough to a blade. I grant you that's not quite the same, so it's a little bit iffy there. Oh, why this room? Well, if that's the only one that moves, that's okay. But another complaint people might have about those final confrontations is, well, why is Kylo Ren struggling to beat them when apparently he murdered all of Luke's students? Well, if you paid attention to the scene before, like, throughout the movie, they retconned something a little bit, and I noticed straight away, and then the film kept on making a point of pointing it out. They made the Wookiee broken stopwatch and stopwatch. They made the Wookiee bowcaster ultra powerful, and like, you know, they make him a point of Han more than once saying, wow, this thing's really powerful. Can I use that for a second? It acts like a bloody bazooka almost. When it hits a stormtrooper, they get sent flying, and they deliberately show that happening like 4 or 5 times. And as I was watching, I was thinking to myself, they're going to do some kind of payoff with making the bowcaster this powerful, because the bowcaster just used to be a Wookiee version of a blaster. It wasn't any more powerful or less powerful than the standard Imperial blaster. So why are they making this a big deal? And they're making it a big deal because when Chewbacca shoots Kylo with it, he doesn't get sent flying, he gets brought down to one knee, but it's to show that he's suffering an immense injury because he got shot by something which sends normal men flying and blows up walls and what have you. So it's to show that he's hurt. So that's why Rey and Finn are able to not even like match up to him, but put up a fight and not get killed instantly because he's mortally wounded. So that was fine. I also like that during the fights they didn't resort to George Lucas's way of ending a fight, because fights are technically not important in the context of Star Wars, because the winner will be whoever the plot dictates the winner will be. So that's why having a flashy fight is meaningless without any emotion behind it. So I like that they use things just like getting cut in the shoulder and Finn gets cut down his back and what have you. It's actually it's almost more violent than watching a limb get blown off in a comic kind of, oh look, there's my hand going flying away. So I like that they did actual wounding with the sword, not just someone getting their limb cut off and being like, right, the fight's over now because I chopped off your hand. I like they did something different like that. And the way Kylo Ren fights during those fights is emotionally charged. He's relying on his anger to give him power, so I loved it that during those 2 fights he's deliberately hitting himself in the bowcaster wound, which is already bleeding on the floor, because he wants the pain, so he fights harder. But at the same time, obviously that makes him sloppy, which is ultimately why he doesn't win. So yeah, I love that they actually set up emotion for those fights, and the manner in which the fights happened reflected the emotional state of the people involved. Like, Finn is basically crapping himself, but he's trying his best. He gets downed. Rey tries her best, but she's feeling overwhelmed, and then he accidentally convinces her, or reminds her about the Force guiding her, and all, you know, the spiritual bullshit. So then she has a moment of peace, and then she's not scared, and is able to stand up to him. So it was really good. I liked the sword fights. I liked the emotion, even if it was predictable. As far as bad stuff, it really, really mimics A New Hope. Like, really, really. The MacGuffin is still a droid with some kind of pertinent information that everybody wants. It's not Death Star plans in this case, but, you know, it might as well be. There is a Death Star, but it's bigger and better and more powerful than the original Death Star. Although I did love like Han's reaction to that. It's like, who cares how big it is? Just tell us how to explode it. There's always a way to explode it. That was a good nod, I feel. But yeah, they relied too heavily on mimicking beat for beat the New Hope storyline. Now I hope that the reason they did that was to kind of ease in old fans. And that come the next one, they'll be a bit more brave about doing their own thing. I hope, anyway. I also like that the focus of the movie towards the end was just the new cast. It's given them a chance to shine. Although I imagine the next movie will have more of Luke in it. Because he didn't in that one very much. What other little things didn't I like? Music. I didn't think any of the music stood out. The one good thing to come out of the prequel movies was Duel of the Fates, which is one of my favourite music tracks of all time, because it combines being both like epic fight music and operatic, and being John Williams, who is a very talented composer. There wasn't anything like that. The music was fine, you know, it uses some of the old tracks, synonymous rather, with Star Wars, but all the new ones, none of them really stood out to me. So that was a little bit disappointing. But that's really about it. In terms of negatives, what other negatives could I see people having, other than nitpicking? I don't know, I'm not sure how people will feel about Kylo Ren as a villain. Because I like what they did with him, because I think it was quite clever. They knew that they were never going to conceive of a villain who is more impressive than Darth Vader. So the angle they went with was a spoilt brat who desperately wishes he was as powerful and as iconic as Vader. But they do it in a better way than they did with Anakin in the prequels. They make him have temper tantrums with a lightsaber. They make him lose control of his emotions, and like that moment when he's trying to pry information out of Rey using the Force, she starts to learn that she can do it too, and she gets inside his head, and you get to hear like, he's afraid, he feels he's inadequate, he wishes he was Darth Vader. So they went a really good way with it, I feel. But still alive, you're still alive. Like, so here's someone who desperately wishes he would be like Darth Vader. He's never gonna be. And also I kinda like the angle that he's a villain who feels like he's getting tempted by the light, as opposed to someone on the light side getting tempted by the dark, which is the normal way of doing things. It's the reversal, which I like. But yeah, it says temper tantrums with the lightsaber are very funny. And that's deliberately so to show that he's a brat. Which was fun. Hell, even his lightsaber reflects his personality, that it's just like, it's all like fiery, as opposed to standard kinds which are smooth. I guess that's to show that it's also maybe not put together properly, and it's just been built out of anger. Oh, well, kind of two things. I totally forgot to mention this sooner, actually. I should have mentioned this before talking about anything spoiler related, because I want everybody to know. There's a Metal Gear Solid 5 Easter egg in the film, and it's really, really obvious. And I asked some people who'd already seen the film, you know, is J.J. Abrams like friends with Kojima, or is he a fan of Kojima? Apparently they're good friends. So there's a really painfully obvious Metal Gear Solid 5 reference in the movie. And I knew what it was straight away, or, you know, in the back of my mind I knew what it was. And, what is it? One of C-3PO's arms are mysteriously missing, and in its place is a red arm. And it's the same arm that Snake loses in Metal Gear Solid 5. So that took me out of the movie a little bit, although C-3PO in general does that, because I don't like him. But he is a walking Easter egg in this movie for the limited number of scenes in which he is in. That was weird. The plot things that kind of bugged me, I don't understand how Luke's original lightsaber got to where it was, because the last time it's seen in the original trilogy is falling after Darth Vader cuts his hand off. So how did that survive, etc.? You know, they didn't really need to explain that, I suppose. Hell, maybe like a cleaner in the Cloud City found it. Maybe Lando found it and tried to get it to them, and it ended up at that place they found it. Who knows? It would have been nice if there was a little bit of a mention about how the hell they actually got it, when the last time you saw it was in such a weird situation as, you know, plummeting down a presumably bottomless pit. That would have been nice. The other thing is, they wanted to steer so far away from the prequels. In fact, I think there's only one mention that you could say is to the prequels. There's mention of, like, because they're using stormtroopers that were trained and, like, taken at birth and then, I don't know, indoctrinated, something like that. There's hints at it, because Finn says he was abducted or something like that. There's a remark Kylo makes at some point, like, well, you should have used a clone army then. I think that's about the only mention there is in the entire movie to the original trilogy. They did not want to bring them up at all. But as a result, I was really confused about the state of the world, like the universe. I get that the First Order are like the remnants of the Empire. That's fine. But why does it seem like in the movie that the rebels, now known as the Resistance, are still the weaker of the two? Shouldn't they just be like the Galactic Army now? Shouldn't they be easily able to crush surviving Empire after 20 or 30 years? Let's try and get a reroll. I mean, I know the opening title crawl said something about like the Senate called in the Resistance, but I don't understand the political setup. And because they were so scared of mentioning politics of any kind as a result of the prequels, I'm a little bit confused about why the Resistance is a resistance and not just an army, and also why they're so weak in comparison to the First Order. It doesn't make much sense to me at all, other than just being that way so that they're weaker. Also, it wasn't very clear what planets got blown up. Was one of them Coruscant? Because if so, that's the Senate killed, right? Goodbye, Jar Jar Binks. Assuming he still works there. But it wasn't clear enough about that either. They shouldn't have really had the whole Death Star thing at all. It should have just been the planet that the First Order were using as their base, or one of their bases, and the mission was to infiltrate it. Everything could have happened as it did, well, except maybe it blowing up, I suppose, without it needing to be a Death Star MacGuffin. But I do still recommend it. It's got a lot going on. It had a lot of clever stuff in it. And I want to see more clever stuff by watching it again, because I do think I probably missed some stuff. Oh, another thing though. I was expecting that lady trooper in like the silver armor, I can't remember her name. Finn's boss. Like, she's set up to look like a badass, and she does. I like the silver stormtrooper armor with the little cape. It looks nice. And she has a good back and forth with Finn. It makes it kind of set up like this is Finn's boss. She thinks something's up with him. She's right. Finn doesn't like her. So it seems like this was like a B or a C story that they were going to use and then didn't bother. So the lady stormtrooper... Oh, we'll take the mulligan. We'll re-roll that. She has like 3 lines in the entire film. And then off camera, assuming they go through with what Han says, gets thrown down a garbage disposal as a nod to New Hope. And then that's it. I don't know, it feels like she should have been more important. Like maybe her armor was special or something. But nope, she's just a leader of the battalion. She gets 3 lines and then she presumably gets killed off camera. I don't know if they just outright murder her, mind you, but... I don't know, it felt like she was supposed to do more and didn't. Because they set her up as being this badass looking stormtrooper, so you think automatically, right, that stormtrooper looks different from the others, this one is important for some reason, pay attention. But nope, not at all. I do wonder if that's one of those characters just thrown in as merchandising. Boy, people are going to be pissed after they see how little she does in the actual thing. Did I not have petrified poop? When did I lose that? I really, honest, this run is actually quite scary how on autopilot I have been for this run, because I'm sitting here thinking about other stuff I want to mention about The Force Awakens. I literally haven't been paying attention. That is scary that I've been able to play this far down, to be honest, while still talking coherently, moderately coherently, about all the stuff I wanted to mention about that film. Probably also confirms that I'll never be a movie critic. But I do like talking about stuff that has importance in some way. And a Star Wars film not made by George Lucas, the incompetent twat that he is important. And I'm so glad that they did it right. I'm a bit worried. I don't think J.J. Abrams is doing any of the other ones, right? So the others might not be as smart as this one was. Which is a shame. Unless he had a hand in kind of setting out the story and for the whole thing. And the other writers as well, who I think did also work on the original trilogy. Can we all agree that the prequels were just bad? There's passable... Oh yeah, I rerolled both and took... I forgot. There's passable moments. In bits. But by and large, George Lucas does not know how to convey story. He got very lazy after he got rich and fat and old. The entirety of the prequels plot is just exposition spouted at you via people sitting on couches. Or standing next to couches, you know, when he wants to vary things up a bit. And it's embarrassing. I didn't mind the first two prequels when I first saw them because I was young and didn't really pay much attention and was stupid. That was before I really got into writing. That was before uni, before I did critical writing and started studying Scottish literature as well. So maybe I just didn't care as much back then. But looking back on them, how did he make a story so bad? It's nothing to do with bad actors. He hired good actors. It's just down to him and his shitty direction and plot. It's embarrassing. But I think all The Force Awakens had to do was just not be like his movies. It just had to be competent. It just had to be average, hell. So people come away from The Force Awakens saying, well, you know, that was pretty good. That's still better than the reaction the prequels got. So they've still achieved something. I'm glad that it wasn't just average. It is above average. It has problems. It wouldn't be on my top 10 list of best movies ever. But I liked it. I recommend it. For whatever that's worth. There we are. And my sister didn't... Well, she said that she didn't see the original trilogy. I think that's wrong, because I think we probably watched them together at Christmas or on VHS when we were kids. But she didn't really remember them, let's put it that way. She probably watched them, but she just couldn't remember them. She still enjoyed it as well. She just enjoyed it as a good science fantasy... Well, sci-fi, but you know, it's more fantasy than fiction. Oh, I wondered why the music changed. I forgot the stopwatch was shit now. Why on earth did I bother taking it? It only kicks in when you get hit. Yeah, anyway, yes, she enjoyed it as just a normal movie, even if she didn't know any of the backstory. You don't really need to have seen any of the other movies to enjoy it as a standalone movie. Well, that compensates for a speed down. I wasn't paying attention to it being a double floor either. We might die here. I don't mind. I've run out of things to talk about with the movie I saw, and that's the only real reason I was recording this. I wanted to talk about The Force Awakens while it was fresh in my mind. Because if I waited a long time... Oh! Hang on, did Guppy's hairball always do that? Did it always destroy shots? Or does it only do that when it gets bigger? Because that's super helpful as long as I don't accidentally fire in too close to her. I suppose also the room being slowed thanks to me getting hit once also helps. Do you need to see it in 3D? Which is also a question I posed after seeing Age of Ultron. No, I think it makes the spaceship fights more entertaining or more extravagant seeing them in 3D, but the rest of the movie you don't need to. Not really. But I like 3D. I was a big skeptic of that kind of bullshit. Like, who cares if it's in 3D or not? It works. It works with action movies, or movies with action sequences in them anyway. So yeah, I recommend seeing it in 3D. I liked it. Enough about that, let's talk about this run. What's going on in this run? I've got Death's Touch. The hairball apparently blocks shots. I'm 2 hits away from death. The dog just hit my can of recycling deliberately to piss me off because she wants her food early and she's not getting it. She hits it and then she runs away because she's scared that I'll hit her. Not that I would, but, you know. She knows that she's doing a bad thing because she wants my attention. Well, this could actually turn around if we get Guppy's paw. We did not. Oh well, that's fine. I did take the yeah. Honestly, not paid attention to this run at all. It's amazing. But it's okay. Hope you don't mind these runs where I go off point. I haven't talked strategy. I haven't really dwelled on anything I picked up. I just wanted to talk about a movie I saw. I hope that's okay. I don't see many movies, so, you know, put it that way, it's not going to happen very often. The next thing I end up blathering about will probably be Civil War. Although, I don't know when that is. Is that going to be out about the same time as Dark Souls 3? Because if it is, I'll probably end up talking to Rory about it. He's the comic nerd, or the most comic nerd I know. So he's more into that kind of thing than I am. Oh, there's something rare there. Is that one of each heart type or two of each heart type? It's one of each heart type. Very, very nice. Yes, dog, I know it's almost time. I know. Your terrorism will not make time go faster. Nope, staring at me and probably eventually making little woof noises is not going to work because I'm still recording. Sometimes if I'm not recording and she starts mooching, I give in, which is a mistake. Don't do that. But you shall not win. So if you've listened this long, you've probably also seen the film. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? It's okay to dislike it if you want to. Although if you do dislike it, can you at least agree that it's better than the prequels? Can you at least agree that? Because otherwise I'll think you're insane. If you think the prequels are better than Force Awakens, you're just being deliberately contrarian. I honestly can't see any feasible, legitimate argument for how those could be better than Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is a competent movie made by a competent director, written by competent writers. The prequels are a mess written by an arrogant twat. Also, I don't think arrogant should be pronounced like that. It should be pronounced arrogant. How pretentious of me. George Lucas is a twit. There, that's the nicest thing I can say about him. He's a twit. He's also a twat. And many other T-words. He invented Jar Jar Binks. That's his legacy. George Lucas's legacy is he invented Jar Jar Binks. And he crafted a love scene between two people where they talk about how they're so beautiful because they're so madly in love. No, normal people don't talk like that. Movie people don't talk like that. What are those words he put... Like, I'm talking about the scene from episode 3. Where Anakin and Padme are saying that, you know, they can't stop looking at each other because they're so beautiful. It's like, for God's sake, what the fuck is wrong with you? No person in history has ever talked like that. Have you never... You're married. You honestly didn't talk like that to your wife, did you? It's maddening how stupid he is. We've got a lot of consumables. Let's just see how this goes. I probably should have waited until he was in second form, but we might actually just push him. Yeah, we did. I would like this Eternal Heart to survive to the final floor because it might make this a victory. It might not. I would have preferred to somehow get our hands on Guppy's paw, but that's okay. Our damage can't be very good, right? I also keep forgetting I have a little brimstone, which may actually be still doing more damage than me. Also, what Guppy items have we picked up? It's only the hairball, right? Did we pick up the... No, we didn't get the paw because I would have used it. Did we pick up the head? That probably should have hit me. By the way, no need to mark your comments in this video with spoilers, I don't think, unless people read the comments before hearing my opening blurb. I'll put it in the title as well, that this contains spoilers for The Force Awakens, because that's basically all I spent my time this hour talking about. But anyway, let's see if we can actually win this one. Curse of Darkness. I was hoping we'd get some items I don't have in my collection yet, but really we've kind of crapped out on that, haven't we? So, we'll take Attack Fly. We'll reroll the rest. We'll try and earn a reroll without dying, because that's not a good selection. Ah, right, so Broken Stopwatch still just has a chance of kicking in, whereas, yeah, Broken Stopwatch is better than Stopwatch now. Good grief. I mean, yes, Broken Stopwatch still has that very, very slim chance of speeding up a room rather than doing nothing or slowing it down. It's still better than only kicking in when you get hit. What is Edmund's fascination with stuff that you have to get hit to use? Oh, that could also be our saviour right there too. If Red Hearts dropped, they'd give us double. I remember making parallels between George Lucas and Edmund as a result of Afterbirth, like just not understanding what people like about the thing they've created. Yeah, it's the same. Different levels of magnitude, but still the same premise. Why aren't you dead yet? Oh yeah, because I don't really have much damage, that's why. But I do have scythes. And a dead end, which got me scapular, which is fine. That is fine. Alright, let's get 2 charges in here. 2 ragmen and what's he called? Forsaken. Oh, that might be bad. Oh, it hit me before it hit me. That's alright then. Well, now the room's permanently slowed. Ner. My charge speed on Little Brimstone is actually pretty slow. Could you let yourself get hit? Thanks. Didn't we already have a health up? Did we get PhD? I think we did. Oh damn, I broke both our horses at the same time. Although it kind of worked out. Right, we have a reroll. Also another dead end, for goodness sake. My dog is now getting impatient and she's right. There's 8 minutes to go. Yeah, alright, that's fine. Don't need any of the other two though, so we'll try and get a reroll again. Damn you. Well, now you're slowed, so ner. Yeah, just stand there forever, that's fine. Oh, there's another one. You were sitting up there making a little base. Concussion Tears also carries, or Steel Bar or whatever. It carries a very, very small damage up, as well as the concussion effect. Oh crap, it's a dead end as well. I really despise that they never bothered fixing their beam. I think this one up here is almost dead. Although so am I. So we might just die in here, that's okay. Even if we don't die in here, I don't rate my chances unless a bunch of red hearts drop. I don't know how you act when you're concussed. Do you land in the same place? Yes, you do. Hey, we lived, but a red heart didn't drop, so don't get attached. Oh, am I fast enough? Just. And their creep might not disappear by the time I get round here, though. Yeah, I'm dead. Yep, dead. Here it comes. Get ready. Oh, I lived. Ho ho! Ho ho! Wasn't scared a bit. Not exactly ideal again. Thank goodness the slow effect kicked in. Oh, it's the Black Death. That's the worst one. For spawns, anyway. Wow. That horse still moves fast even when slowed, doesn't it? Well, half heart. Oh wait, no, it's a full heart. Yes, Maya, I saw you scratch at that door. You're not supposed to do that. You know you're not supposed to do that. I'm aware that it's almost time. I still have a few minutes to spare. I'd rather do a small room first. Yeah, Gertie's fine. Are you championing Gertie? I can't tell. No, you're not. You can fire. What the? He shot where I was going to be, you clever bitch! Oh, wait, I mean she. She fired where I was supposed to, going to be. Ugh. Nope, didn't need to take that. Alright, well, let's assume we go this way. Get rid of the Larry Juniors first, ideally. Oh! Still one alive. Damn. I can't tell which ones are in the air and which aren't. Oh, he landed where I was gonna be. That's a shame. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed Flick Talks About a Movie you saw for 54 minutes. Until next time, ta-ta for now.